Good evening, Belize, and welcome to XTV's news broadcast for Friday, May 16, 2025. Making headlines tonight, fatal RTA in Blue Creek leaves one dead and one injured. New air carriers could be flying into Belize by year's end, and Independent Village Council explores township. We take our first break and return with the news in detail.
Make light work lighter.
Welcome back with your news. I am Drea Espinosa. A fatal road traffic accident involving two motorcyclists in Blue Creek, Orange Walk, has left one man dead and another hospitalized. Reports are that around 7:30 a.m. on Thursday, 37-year-old Abram Peters of Blue Creek was on his Honda XR 150L motorcycle exiting his property and attempting to cross the road when he was hit by another motorcycle. The other motorcycle, a Leafhan, was being driven by 70-year-old Reynaldo Colomer of nearby San Felipe, Orange Walk. Peter sustained head and body injuries and was rushed to the Northern Regional Hospital, NRH, but was pronounced dead on arrival. Colomer sustained multiple injuries and is currently hospitalized at the NRH. Police are investigating. A Belize City woman reported to police that on Sunday around 8 a.m. she hired a known taxi driver. However, according to the woman, he did not take her to her desired destination, but instead drove her to his home. He then allegedly raped her. The police reported that their investigation into the incident commenced on Tuesday, which resulted in the 30-year-old Belizean taxi driver being arrested and charged with rape. A new hardwood floor was inaugurated last night in San Ignacio for the court located inside the auditorium at the Victor Galvez Stadium. Minister of Tourism, Youth, Sports, and Diaspora Relations, Honorable Anthony Mahler, told the media today that he, along with Minister of State, Honorable Devin Daly, and CEO Nicole Solano, have been touring sporting facilities across the country. He said their intention is to have all of them upgraded eventually. In Belize City, he said there is a master plan being worked on for the Marion Jones Sporting Complex.
Minister Drea and I, in our first interview with the media, said that we're going to make marked improvements within the first 100 days. We're well on our way. Last night we opened a brand new hardwood court in San Ignacio. We're working on improving Marion Jones. So we have a master plan being worked out for that we'll have more facilities in that area. The MCC is another one. Rogers Stadium, I believe, is a low-hanging fruit in terms of getting that done. And then all the other facilities, we're doing our tours right now. Both Minister Daly and I and my CEO visiting those facilities to see how we can upgrade all of those facilities. We want to showcase to the region specifically and the world that we can have these types of tournaments as long as we have the facilities.
Speak on the significance of the Victor Galvez upgrades that you talked about from last night.
Well, a brand new hardwood floor. For basketball and volleyball, it's not good to be playing on cement, especially for the longevity of the athletes. And so that's the basic these days, that we should have hardwood floors all across the country. The other thing that we'll have to invest in there are some bleachers for competitions to be had there.
Despite fears that the travel industry could be impacted by the global tariff wars, Minister of Tourism, Honorable Anthony Mahler, told the media today they are optimistic that Belize could still fare well as a tourism destination. In fact, Mahler revealed that there could be new air carriers flying into the Philip Golson International Airport by the end of the year.
I had a meeting yesterday with the U.S. Embassy, and we had a frank, open discussion. And I believe that this is an opportunity for us. I think things are going to settle down. Last week, Friday, I met with some of the major airlines that come to Belize, and all of them are saying that they're expecting an uptick after June. For the first 4 months of this year, we've seen record numbers except for March, whereby last year, March, you had Easter in it, and this year, Easter fell in April, and so January was a record month, and February was a record month, March were marginally down, and April we had a record month. So now it is how we position ourselves. I believe the Mexican market is important, the Canadian market is important, South America is going to be important, and the regional aspect of it, but air connectivity is also important. So we have some contracts on the table and hopefully we can get those worked out before the end of the year, whereby we have new carriers coming into Belize.
If I could follow up on that, talk a little bit about the challenges to attract a wider European market.
Well, a lot of stuff go into that. So you need a necessary hotel plan. You need a taxiway at the airport. They're building that out right now. And you need to show to your partner, the carrier, that we can sustain a flight over the long haul. It's a little bit different from the U.S. carriers and regional carriers. You're talking about a plane that could hold maybe 370 people at one time. And so those things are crucial. We have a contract on the table, but like I said, other things have to be worked out. Obviously, you can't have an expensive plane landing and turning around on the same runway. So we're working with the people at the airport to ensure that the taxiway is built and that we can get that first European flight into Belize.
Mahler did admit that the immigration changes in the U.S. has affected travel among the Belizean diaspora in the U.S.
The Belizean market is important, and actually the Belizeans living abroad coming back home, that target market is important. We've seen, obviously, because of the issues happening in the United States where the bulk of Belizeans live, we see a drop in the number of Belizeans wanting to travel. In fact, as Minister of Diaspora, I've reached out to some of the communities and said, all right, we want to engage with you guys. And so all the park fests have been cancelled. There's a level of uncertainty, but hopefully all those things are settled down in the coming months. And I still believe to your original question that we can double back in the United States and continue to build from that market.
After the break, PM and Mexican president discuss trade, Tren Maya, and San Pedro Bridge. Stay tuned.
Hi there. Are you on your phone right now?
Teléfono 22 32 87 6.
On Thursday, a new low-income housing project called Highland Estates was launched in the J&W area of Belmopan. The initial project boasts 51-bedroom concrete homes on roughly a quarter of an acre plot of land. These homes were made available to public servants and teachers who will pay $100 per month for a period of 10 years. Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Natural Resources, Honorable Cordell Hyde, spoke on the impact of such a project.
These 50 houses are actually on a larger subdivision that we a land that we acquired for and on behalf of teachers and the public servants of Belize. There are hundreds of lots, almost 800 lots. And this is the start of that project. Officially kind of kicks it off and officially create the opportunities for them to now come in and put in their roads with the assistance of the government, of course. But it will catapult this project. And as the minister explained, all the people who live along this road and surrounding areas. So in the immediate instant, you're looking at perhaps 1,000 people benefiting, but it's going to be far more in pretty short order.
What does it mean to you to see a project like this start and finish and be successful?
And in the shortest possible time, man, this project just kind of speeded along. It's amazing that it got done so quickly. Amazing that this kind of infrastructure was gotten in here, and this quality infrastructure. But really, it's we can't do enough of this. Like, we can't build enough of these homes for our families because the upside, the positives, the intangibles that this creates, you can't really put a money value on it. At the end of the day, it's the government at its finest, really. It's when the government is really in touch with its social justice roots, when the government is really doing what the people elected us to do, which is to say to take care of the people who need our help the most to improve their standard of living. We can't do it any better than this.
Minister of Infrastructure, Development and Housing, Honorable Julius Espat, responded to criticism of the location of the homes.
Well, you work with what you have. If you want to buy a suitable area, you go to the private sector and pay $40,000 a lot. We are doing this as a contribution to the people of Belize. It is not as far as you might like to think. It is nearly in the heart of Belmopan. That's why we paved the road. And everything will come with time. What we have seen in other developments like this is that some of the same recipients end up putting up their shops as the need comes. Some of them end up being babysitters. It's a start. It's a start. Nothing is perfect. Nothing that we do in life is perfect. In fact, the only perfect man was Jesus, and he was killed. So you can understand what we're dealing with. But we try our best. And we work with the land that's available. The most important thing here was not only the houses, was giving access to the 500 recipients from the public service that will be in the future be able to do their development, and the residents of Belmopan, that hundreds and hundreds that will benefit from the infrastructure that we are putting in. And so the urban planning part of it, we are concentrating in the metropolis of Belmopan, which is George Price's initial concept, and it took many years before it's starting to reach here, and we are using the available land. Belize City, for example, is low-lying, so the same can apply there. But here we have done it in such a way that it's not low-lying anymore. We have addressed that issue.
Earlier this week, Prime Minister Honorable John Briceño had a phone conversation with Mexican President Her Excellency Claudia Sheinbaum. The two discussed several topics aimed at strengthening ties and including talks of expanding market access for Belizean cattle and coconuts. The two also discussed the potential of expanding land connectivity, including connecting Belize to the Tren Maya system, which has been long discussed, and the long-proposed Zaragoza Bridge, which would link Ambergris Key with Quintana Roo. They also discussed the power supply and strengthening security cooperation. Both sides agreed to send a Mexican delegation to Belize for follow-up talks and to meet in person in the near future. The Minister of Youth, Honorable Anthony Muller, made the news recently after his comments on possibly downsizing the Department of Youth Services, DYS, and the Sports Council after he said it was discovered that there were ghost workers. Today, he said that he intends to restructure the ministry to be able to offer more assistance to youth.
Well, we promise leadership, one. we promise a plan that we will consult with people, and two, we will work. We will lead by example. Minister Drea and I will lead by example and show that we can get things done. It's not rocket science for us to be able to ensure that we have the programs that can meet the needs of almost 70% of our population. Our youth is considered between 14 and 29, and I think about 67% of our population would be considered youth and children below, and youth would be considered almost 50%. So it's an important demographic in our country. We like to say the youths are our future. I say they're a part of our development now, because that's a big range from 14 to 29. A lot of people are already working, they're participating in the economy, they're building homes, they're having families, and so it's an important demographic that we have to have, especially the ones coming out of those marginalized neighborhoods, that we have to have the programs to capture them. If I've said this to the Director of Youth, that by the end of this year, I would like to know the names of every single young person who is doing well in school but don't have the economic means and the financial means to continue their education, and we will provide a safety net in terms of restructuring. Between youth and sports, we have about almost $8 million. I believe that with restructuring, with improving the efficiencies of the departments, that we can accomplish a lot of things out of that money, just the way we manage the money.
Do you think that the ministry was given sufficient funds in this year's budget to complete these goals?
I believe it's a start, and I believe it's a good start. And like I said, we will continue to restructure, we'll continue to become more efficient.
The Belize Premier Basketball League, BPBL, tips off the opening of their inaugural season this weekend. Games are scheduled for tonight, which features Belize City Thunderbolts hosting the Easy Investments Griga Dream Ballers, and for Saturday, which sees San Pedro Tiger Sharks visiting the Corozal Serra Suns, and Belmopan's Capital City Kings visiting Cayo Western Balas in San Ignacio. On Thursday, we spoke with BPBL Commissioner Claudio Leal, who spoke of the upcoming season and the unique format of the league. He also says that the league is looking to welcome teams from Orange Walk, Benque Viejo del Carmen, and Keycaulker for Season 2.
We have 7 teams from 5 districts, high energy, high competition, new format, new bylaws, new regulation, of course, new commissioner. The commissioner's office comprised of 3, 2 deputies and myself, and we do believe that we have the structure and the management in place to make this league the premier basketball league as we say it is. Of course, we had to be sanctioned by the Belize Basketball Federation, right? So we got our sanction, and that gives us a timeline that we're supposed to have our league, which would be June to November of 2025. However, the previous league did not come through for January. So everybody is anticipating this new league now. The energy is there. We have gotten information. We have sat with all the owners, coaches, and everybody from all the different districts. Like I said, it's 7 teams, 5 districts. Everybody is excited to bring back basketball at the professional level to Belize City. Well, right now we have each team comprised of 12 players on each roster. 1 foreign player from any part of the country, any part of the world. 1 naturalized Belizean and 1 under 21, which gives you, in essence, 10 Belizean players and 2 foreign players. That is equal parity across all 7 teams. So these teams are hungry. These teams are ready. Orange Walk said at this time they could not participate. The owners of Rebels last year are now involved with cycling. So they said that for sure next year they would want to be a part of this league. We also have a verbal commitment right now from Benque as well as Keycaulker for the next year league, for the next year season already. All the games will be live on TNC 10. They have the broadcasting contract. What makes this new league different also is that we have 3 cups. We have the Maya Cup, the Tucan Cup, and the Jaguar Cup. The Benice Jaguar Cup is a big dance. That's $15,000 with 20 gold rings.
The finals.
That's the final That's the final championship. The Mayan Cup and the Tucan Cup is $5,000 each with trophies. So that's two different conferences. The winner from those both conferences come together for the finale, which we now call, which is now named the Beniz Jaguar Cup. So you have the Leslie, Dion Leslie, father, his past father, Tony Leslie. So we have the Leslie Cup, and we have the Santino Castillo Cup, the Tucan and the Maya Cup.
Earlier today, Minister of Sports Honorable Anthony Mahler was asked to comment on the BPBL. Mahler revealed that he intends to revive the original semi-pro league early in 2026.
It's better than nothing. But we plan to sit down with the Basketball Federation and we plan to bring back the original semi-pro basketball league early next year.
So you don't see this one being a long-lasting?
Well, it could be. I mean, they're doing it in the summer months. Usually that tournament starts in January, so we'll see how it goes from there. But it's better to have our athletes playing rather than just sitting down home doing nothing and just play scrimmage ball at the parks.
After the break, could a tri-town community form in the Mid-South? Stay tuned.
Smart is enhancing your mobile experience to keep you connected.
Week under the theme Our Nurses, Our Future, Caring for Nurses, Strengthen Economies. Nurses across the country participated in various activities all week, which served to celebrate nurses, allow socialization, but also to help further their education. The nursing supervisor at the Corozal Community Hospital, Drea Lennon, shared what activities her nurses participated in.
We had an exciting week. We celebrated Nurses Week from the 6th to the 12th of May, and our International Day was the 12th of May. So we started off with a wonderful church service with Pastor Awardo giving us the blessing on Tuesday, May 6th at 2 p.m. And so we were able to use our chapel for the compound for the first time since COVID. And so that was exciting to be able to start off our week there. And everything was prearranged. And so our nurses, we had 25 nurses and supporting staff coming out to the church service to bless us and to start off the week wonderfully. And so that was on the Tuesday. And then on Wednesday, we had our nurses walk that started at 5:30 p.m. from the old Social Security building all the way up Santa Rita Road to the community hospital compound. And so that was also exciting. We had different organizations joined us. And so the nurses did their walk, their national walk, because the walk was done also nationally throughout the country. All right. On Thursday was our health education day. And so some of the nurses participated in the measles malaria training or educational sessions. And the nurses session is actually today, where Nurse Alcocer and Nurse Vega is doing the kangaroo mother care training presently here on the compound. And so that's the official health education day for nurses. We had to switch it. We did participate in that one, but we had to switch the actual nurses one for today. And then on the Friday, excitedly, 14 of us traveled to Spanish Fork at Oak Ridge venue, and we had the nurses conference there. And so we were there all day, and so that was wonderful. We had different health education sessions, giveaways, we had dinner, and it was quite a nice ambiance because a lot of our nurses met with some of our other colleagues, and it was nice to see some older nurses meet some younger nurses. And that was also where we had the we had voting for our new executive. So nationally, we have a new executive body for the Nurses Association of Belize.
Nurse Lennon explained that activities continued through the weekend and into this week. She also explained how nurses were encouraged to seek self-care.
The Saturday was basically self-awareness day, where the nurses just had a time to reflect on themselves, on their career, on where they're at, where they want to be, where they plan to go in the next 2-3 years. Sunday was Mother's Day, and so nurses just had a day to spend quality time with their family and their friends, and of course to be celebrated as mothers if they were a mother, or to celebrate their mother and family member. Then Monday was our lunch on the lawn right here on the hospital compound. And that was our International Day, where we wore our t-shirts like the one that I'm wearing. And so we had a 3-course meal, and we had just socialization time. The most important thing for us is for our nurses to know that we need to take care of ourselves, because if we don't take care of ourselves, we cannot take care of anybody else. And when I say take care of ourselves, that means really spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically, socially, and even in sharpening our skills. So the goal for us is for me to encourage my nurses to continue to sharpen their skills, continue to get training, continue their nurses education so that they can be stronger, they can be more proficient, they can be more skillful, and for us also to work together as a team. If we work together as a team, it's a one cook not full basket. When we work together as a team, each one of us can achieve more, and we can be more happier and more joyful as we give our service to our patients. So for my nurses, we say take care of yourselves so that you can be properly equipped to take care of others. Because as nurses, when we care for ourselves and when we care for others, we do strengthen the economy because we make life a lot better. We advocate for our clients, and we can even advocate for each other and encourage each other to be the best that we can be.
Public consultations have begun in Independence, Mango Creek, Stan Creek, as the Village Council has begun exploring the process of becoming an official town. Chairperson of the village, Clifton Garbett, explained that the community has developed to become one of the largest villages in the country, with a population just under 5,000. Garbett explained what benefits the community could gain from seeking township.
It started from a concept where Independence Village has seen rapid growth and development over the last 5 years and maybe even more. And that growth has sparked more demands and expectations from the villagers. And that is only, those demands and expectations can only be fulfilled if there's some type of financial resource. And those financial resources, normally, what we have seen in other municipalities, comes from the villagers. And so we thought that what best way of how to fulfill these demands and expectations by ensuring that the villagers will be able to participate in those development. And so that is where, as a council, we sit and we have to face these expectations almost every day. These demands, they're constant, and there's a lack of financial resource. There's only one way to get it done, would be that the government provides some kind of assistance on a sustainable way. But at this time, we don't see that happening. And so a township, the possibility of township would be the next best step. As far as I know, town councils do get a subvention. In terms of village councils, what we get from the government is the liquor license fees. So any payment paid to the government for liquor license is then given back to villages. And so that is one of the direct taxes that we collect from the government in regards to fees. Beside that, Independence is a little bit unique that we also get the opportunity to charge a sanitation fee. And so that is also a revenue for us. And of course, that goes directly to assist in residential garbage being picked up on a weekly basis.
Former chairperson of the village, Oscar Gutierrez, explained that the topic has been discussed for decades. Gutierrez shared that following the decline of Monkey River Town, Toledo, which was a topic we discussed earlier this week, there had been discussions dating back to the 1960s to upgrade Independence to a town.
It has been in discussion in the background for some time. And if we talk about discussion, you'd have to go back in history, because when Mango Creek became recognized as a community, you had the mass migration, especially after 1961 Hurricane Hattie. You had most of the persons from the river, which is Swayze, Bladen River, Trio River, migrated to Mango Creek. And then you had people moving from Monk River to come and live in Mango Creek, because the whole economy was destroyed. And in 1966, bear in mind, in 1964, we get self-government. So 2 years later, Mango Creek had its first village council election, or first council. And the discussion at that time was to inherit the status of Monk River as town and transition it to Mango Creek. So we could have become a town from 1966 had we inherited those rights. But so the discussion had been in the background from then and up to this point where it become now that the present council is recruiting the expertise of government officials like the Fort King to share his views on moving forward with this idea, no? Or materializing it, because it has been in discussion.
On April 30, a panel discussion on the topic was held at the Independence Junior College, IJC, where residents participated in person or via a Facebook stream. Dean of IJC, Marie Young, spoke on the discussion and shared thoughts and concerns of the community members who participated.
We had a panel discussion on the township and the movement of the sentiments. We wanted to gather the sentiments from the community on their feeling of township for independence and the village or Mango Creek, as what the history would have it to say, no? And at that session, we had both a face-to-face group, which was a small group, and we had streamed this session as well. And that's where we had about 3K. What I gathered from the sentiments of the members there was there was a general sentiment even from the panel and the members in the group or who were present there and online. I gather a sentiment that the community is for the movement of independence or Mango Creek, whoever which name they would go with, for it to become a town. So I gather the general sentiments in my honest opinion, seeming like it wants to go to a town. However, we had the concern that was stable from my little small survey that I did that they had concerns with it being a town mainly because of taxation and the concern of taxation. So those were some of the little things I gathered. Okay, so this panel discussion was what we call our first sensitization session. So we are looking forward to a follow-up. Since we gathered from the members from members there that the concern was taxation. So public taxation is something in our second segment of awareness and promotion of this township idea is to probably shed more light on what type of taxation this community should venture into and the plus and minus of it. Since we found out that taxation is our major concern, then the sentiments from the discussion was that let us have another session that focused on what the taxation should be or what type of taxation should the community or the council or the governing body go into that will benefit both the people of the independence and the growth of the independence. So then for the onset in my understanding from the labor or the persons who were there from local government, he mentioned there are different type of um, programs you could have whereby you have a taxation that for growth or you can have a taxation that is for zoning. So if you're from different zone, you pay a different rate. And if you are underprivileged or marginal or poor, then you will get so much leverage of not paying or reduced payment. And if you're somebody who is old, then you'll as well get some type of incentive or reduced rate. So these are things that we need to speak about, because if I know that my money that I'm paying is going into something meaningful for the growth of the community, then it's something viable.
Dean Young said she will soon do a survey to get the thoughts of her students on the proposal of township. Chairperson Garbutt shared that the council is also exploring other options for the council to gain access to additional funds to carry out village services. This includes potentially adopting the Key-Cocker model.
So if township is so far, we could consider Key-Cocker model. There's a lot of resources that comes out of this place, Mr. O'Brien, that we believe that if it would just be given back, similar to liquor license, given back to us, we can do far more with just the liquor license and the sanitation fee. We have transformed much of what has been done in Independence prior to the last 3 years. We have done what we consider to be adequate, that people are really embrace the changes that we have made. And we believe that if there is more that can be given to us, we understand that trade licenses will be coming on board in October. And so some businesses will have to pay or contribute more to villages. That certainly would assist us in doing more for our village. There are central billing authority who comes in and takes fees out of the community and takes it back, take it back to central government. If those fees can also come back. If the water board were to come under the jurisdiction of the village council, again, there is access to more revenue for villages. In our village, we are a little bit unique because we also have the Belize Port Authority, who charges 50 cents for each person who travels on the water taxi. And if that 50 cents, that's a daily transportation, and given the amount of people the number of people who travel to Placencia on a daily basis, again, that is additional fees that can also come back to our community. And those are taxes that people are already paying. They're already paying these things. It's not an additional fee on anyone. It's not a property tax. So these are fees that we can certainly get access to. And if government is willing to give them back to the village, and if they do that, I can see that that can also assist us. Right? Because at the end of the day, it's all about the financial resources that we have access to. We do all kind of things here. We try fundraising, but it's not sustainable in any way. And the most part, we recognize that we are at the mercy of the government to provide some assistance. We're also at the mercy of business community to provide assistance. And that is not a sustainable way to do or to run the affairs of a village of this size.
With independence making moves towards township, could that make a way for the possibility of a larger town? There are talks about a possible greater tri-town municipality being formed in the mid-south region of the country, where independence could merge with Placencia and St. Vite. Former chairman of Independence, Oscar Gutierrez, said that Placencia and St. Vite have also explored the idea of those two villages merging to become a town.
With respect to we become town and Placencia Peninsula wants to join, I had that discussion when I was in village council in 2016. Because I remember the chairman of CMBike at the time was Justo Torres, and the chairlady for Placencia was Ilsa Villanueva. And Ilsa mentioned to me that, the possibility of township is shared with them because Placencia is generating a lot of revenue, the peninsula. And there could be a joint township with Placencia and St. Mike since it's the same peninsula. And my discussion with them, or just sharing with them, especially with Justo Agustin, that if you become town, Mango Creek will be like the hub. We have the solid land. We have we are the hub of the education center in the south. We could attract the universities for you and the hospitals. We have the biggest police formation in the Mid-South. Yes, we distribute police to those areas. We have the fire station here that send people across to work every day. So if that's something that seems possible and both sides want it, I am all for it. We are people with the same natural cultural experience. So I don't have an issue with that. It just, we got to work out the logistic of how you administrate the right administration and team together. And like I say, we need this team, this good governance oversight committee, and it could come together and make sure we do the right thing for both communities.
Chairperson of Independence, Clifton Garbett, said he's not entirely sold on the idea of a tri-town municipality.
I've heard of this tri-town concept before. I don't know if it is something that would work given the cultural differences of the area. And then who takes ownership of leading at any point in time? How would that work? There's a lot to be to be desired when it comes to understanding how that would work. The geographic location of the area just wouldn't make, for me, practical sense to do something like that. Eventually, hopefully, there might be a connection with here and Placencia in terms of overpass. But that again is not something that I'm seeing in the near future. But without that connectivity, there's a lot of things that we would want to find out how it would work. But it is not something that is far-fetched in any way, that there could be a linkage between these communities. But in terms of township, personally, I don't see it at this time.
And most teachers across the country today participated in various activities as they celebrated their day. This week, many have taken to social media to show their appreciation for their favorite teachers and those of their children. In our last feature this week honoring teachers, we recently spoke with Dale McDougall, who reflected on his education and thanked those teachers whose impact still motivates him to this day.
Happy Teachers Day to all teachers. You remain the backbone of our society. You've created lawyers and doctors and other teachers who have contributed positively to society. So happy Teachers Day to all teachers from Corozal to Toledo and the Keys. Where do I begin? As a student who has come from a low socioeconomic background, living in Belize City, I was a student at Grace Primary School and St. John's College. Those are the individuals who have contributed so much to my development, my understanding of myself, and my understanding of what it means to be a global citizen. Several teachers have helped me develop who I am as a man. So for example, the greatest teachers that I've had at Grace Primary, the principal, Miss Gloria Edwards, former principal, Miss Gloria Edwards, a stalwart in education who has led us with such grace, such honor, such compassion, and fairness and discipline. And those memories that I shared with her as a student at Grace Primary, I'll never forget. Other really fantastic teachers at Grace Primary that I've had include Mrs. Helen Stewart, arguably one of my favorite teachers ever, Ms. Valerie Garnett. I also hold on that pedestal. Dr. Nelma Mortis, she taught me in Standard 5. She helped me understand what it means to live in a real world where there are challenges and there's happiness, and how you strike a balance between those two things. My time at St. John's College, I've had fantastic teachers as well who instilled the love for English language and English literature. Immediately, those who come to mind are Miss Adelma Romero, Dr. Aline Harrison, Mrs. Princessa Galvez, and Mr. David Lacey, of course. Really, and of course, the legend herself, how could I possibly forget Miss Agnes Arana, who are such wonderful inspirations, and I draw from the lessons that they taught me in my own instruction as a lecturer, because I'm a university lecturer in English at Galen University currently. I also teach English, and those are the people that have inspired me so well throughout the years. If there's one singular thread throughout all of those experiences, is a commitment to self-development and how that translates to your contribution as a person, developing your community, your spaces, and inspiring other people to do or to become better global citizens. So for those reasons, I thank them very much.
And with that, we have come to the end of our newscast. The repeat can be viewed on this station later tonight at 9 and again Monday at midday. Join us again Monday at 6 p.m. for another news broadcast. I am Drea Espinosa. Have a safe and enjoyable weekend.